Gene, what is so interesting here is not only the classic don't fight the Fed, but Gene Frieda, it's also don't fight the bond market. The idea of bonds, you know what, they price reality. One of the great moments this week for surveillance was Francine's conversation in Zurich with the beleaguered leader of Credit Suisse. He has to fight negative interest rates every day, is one distortion in Europe, and other distortions in America, like absurdly low real rates. When do we get rid of these distortions and have a quote-unquote normal bond market?
I think it's going to take a long time in one sense. And I think, so if I can talk about Europe a little bit distinctly from the global bond market, we are in the process of exiting a period in which global central banks have suppressed volatility. And I always describe this a little bit like a wet blanket. I mean, they threw a wet blanket over everything. That blanket dries out gradually, and at some point you start to see volatility coming back, and it is coming back. Against that, it's very easy to envision the Europeans, the ECB, kind of missing the whole cycle because of what's happening in Italy and because of the slowing you're seeing, in Northern Europe that seems to be at least partly related to trade. So, so I think you kind of want to distinguish between low rates and QE.
Okay, I'll go there. But Professor Zingales, get out the ISLM function that you beat to death every year at Chicago. The hallmark here for Gene Frieda is we have Carney and Draghi with headlines on the Bloomberg saying, this is what we're going to do until late 2019. That is absolutely unprecedented and shows the distortions of the market, doesn't it?
I think actually low rates are not caused by the Fed or the ECB. Low rates represent a low demand for investment or excess amount of savings. I think there is an imbalance that needs to be fixed. And paradoxically, Trump is helping fixing it by overspending on the U.S. side. So he's doing what the Europeans should be doing more, and they don't do enough. And so he overdoes it in the United States.
Right, but the U.S. can afford it, right?
Because the U.S. can afford it, yes.
Europe can't, or can it?
Actually, Germany can, but they don't do it.
Okay, will they ever do it? I guess what we haven't talked about is the fact that Angela Merkel's days may be numbered because she's not going to be running for the CDU leadership anymore in December.
Yes, absolutely. I think that this is a game changer in Europe. The question is, who's going to replace her with what position? And I'm not so confident that the next leader would be an expansionist that will want to build more infrastructure and make Germany
great
grow
again.
Yeah.